So in the last class, we have discussed about the primary open angle glaucoma. So I think all of you know what is glaucoma, and today we will discuss about the primary angle closure glaucoma. So what is the difference between the open angle glaucoma and the angle closure glaucoma? In the last class also I have said open angle glaucoma is the drainage of the aqueous is through trabecular meshwork and evioscleral outflow. Whereas in case of open angle glaucoma, there is a drainage of the aqueous, but there is a problem in the drainage of the aqueous as the trabecular meshwork pathway. But the evioscleral pathway works as it is. Whereas in case of angle closure glaucoma, the drainage pathway itself narrow, so that there will be increase in the intraocular pressure leading to glaucoma. So if you see these two pictures, you can clarify that this is a normal optic disc where you can see this is a cup and this is a cup margin and this is a disc and this is a disc margin. Okay. Whereas over here in this picture, you can see you do not see a very large cup over here, but you see a vertical curve, and over here if you see, you can see there is a thinning of the rim and even notching, the absence of the rim at this point. So after nearly 67 billion patients with glaucoma worldwide, it has been estimated that 1/2 are affected by angle closure glaucoma. Primary angle closure glaucoma has been called the most common form of glaucoma in the world and a leading cause of bilateral blindness. So the blindness is more common in primary angle closure glaucoma than in the open angle glaucoma, though the number of the people are more in open angle glaucoma. So pathogenesis and pathophysiology of the angle closure glaucoma is defined by the appositions of the peripheral iris to the trabecular meshwork and the resulting reduced drainage of aqueous humor through the anterior chamber angle. So all of you must be clear in your mind that where is the aqueous secreted. Aqueous is formed by the ciliary process, by the ciliary epithelium, and from there to the posterior chamber through the iris, it comes to the anterior chamber and it is drained into the through the trabecular meshwork to the Schlemm's canal into the subconjunctival space. So this or into the venous system. So this must be very clear. So in angle closure, there is the apposition of the peripheral iris to the trabecular meshwork. So the drainage of the aqueous is reduced, so that the posterior chamber pressure is more, leading to the more pushing of the peripheral iris anteriorly. So conceptually, the mechanism of the angle closure is described is given in two categories. That is mechanism that pulls the iris forward from behind and mechanism that pulls the iris forward into contact with the trabecular meshwork. So there are various causes which can cause pull or push the iris. So iris push forward behind into the angle is relative pupillary block, absolute pupillary block, aqueous misdirections or malignant glaucoma, and ciliary body swelling, inflammation or cyst form. So pupillary block is the most frequent cause of angle closure and the underlying cause of most common cases of the primary angle closure glaucoma. So the flow of the aqueous from the posterior chamber to the pupil is impeded, and this obstruction creates a pressure gradient between the posterior and anterior chamber that causes the peripheral iris to bow forward against the trabecular meshwork. So this forward movement of iris does not cause the angle closure in individual with normal anatomy. So this thing you have to understand why there is not the increase of the pressure, or why there is not glaucoma in all sort of patient. So the forward movement of the iris does not cause the angle closure in individuals with normal anatomy, those who have normal anatomy. But in cases of this narrow angle, they have certain anatomical variations, so that can lead to this increase in intraocular pressure. The trabecular meshwork is located between the iris and cornea, and the true structure forms an angle that is normally 40 degree. So we have normally 40 degree angle formations in between this iris and the cornea, and person with susceptible anatomy have the narrow occludable angle usually of less than 20 degree. So that forms a narrow angle by itself. So when the iris is pushed forward by the aqueous humor in a narrow occludable angle, it becomes opposed to the trabecular meshwork. So this blockage causes the accumulation of aqueous in the anterior chamber and the acute rise in intraocular pressure. So in this predisposed eye, who have already predisposed eye, we will discuss about this anatomical predisposing factor. So any causes that causes the iris to push forward, so there will be the appositions opposed to the trabecular meshwork, which causes the aqueous cannot drain, which cause accumulations of the aqueous humor in the anterior chamber and rise of intraocular pressure. So these are the risk factors or anatomical factors, or eyes anatomically predisposed to develop primary angle closure glaucoma. So those patients who have got these type of anatomical configurations, and in these patients, if there is a narrow flow of the aqueous, then there will be a primary angle closure glaucoma. So these type of eyes are hypermetropic eyes, shallow anterior chamber both centrally and periphery, decreased anterior chamber volume, that is less than 50%, short axial length of the globe, small corneal diameter, increased posterior corneal curvature, that is reduced radius of posterior corneal curvature, decreased corneal height, anterior position of the lens with respect to ciliary body, increased curvature of the anterior lens surface, increased thickness of the lens, and more anterior insertion of iris into the ciliary body, giving a narrow approach to the angle recess. So when we see the eye, we cannot see a whole of these things. Some need measurement and thing, but so we suppose that there is an increased thickness of the lens, that this lens can be the culprit for the primary angle closure glaucoma. And we see the shallow anterior chamber. So we do gonioscopy and do the patient peripheral iridectomy as a prophylactic treatment. So biometric peculiarities of the eyes predisposed to angle closure glaucoma are accentuated by three traits associated with aging. So mostly this angle closure comes in the female 40 patient. So what is change with the age, that is given by the biometric relations? The lens grow in thickness through. So we know that as the aging occurs, there is a change in the lens thickness. So second, lens assumes a more anterior position with the age, so more anterior displacement of the age. And third, the pupil becomes increasingly myotic with age. So these three factors are presumed as a biometric peculiarities for the primary angle closure with age. So precipitating factors for the angle closure are mydriasis, emotional upset, dim illuminations, medications, evening hours, sympathetic, parasympathetic dysfunction, extreme miosis, and prone position. So what happens in these all positions which leads to the narrow of the angle or close trabecular iris trabecular contact. So these are the not so new studies. So today I didn't add any new studies over here. This is my old slide. So the configurations has changed, but the different studies about the epidemiology. In one studies in all UNTAD countries, Minnesota, the incidence of ankylosing glaucoma was 8.3 per 1 lakh population 40 years of age and older. So there is a age. Age has given. So with the age or 40 years, there is a high percentage of the ankylosing glaucoma. In Taiwan, the prevalence of ankylosing glaucoma is in the rural population. So by showing the epidemiology, we can see the different age, race, configurations at that place. So a 6th and 7th decade of the life, it is more common. And most studies have reported that primary ankylosing glaucoma with pupillary block occurs 2 to 3 times more commonly in the women than in the men. So the increased prevalence of the ankylosing in women probably reflects the fact that the women have narrower anterior chamber. So different studies has given this moral about the sex. Hereditary, it is sporadic in nature, and some with autosomal dominant and some with recessive pattern of inheritance. And hypermetropia have this type of glaucoma. Seasonal incidence is increased cloudiness, changeable weather, and low sunspot activities. What is the clinical course of the PACG? This is very important, and you will be asked questions both in theory and practical. So previous studies have said that it is divided into 5 stages. However, the condition does not necessarily progress from one stage to next stage in an orderly sequence, but some patients have got the latent glaucoma, that is prodromal stage. Some has intermittent or subacute glaucoma, some stage of acute congestive glaucoma, and chronic closed angle glaucoma or absolute glaucoma. So some patient comes to us at the acute congestive stage. Some patient, most of the patient comes to us, or some patient comes to us at the chronic closed angle glaucoma, and some patients comes to us at the absolute stage. And most of the time, the latent glaucoma or the intermediate stage is almost subside within a few hours or the few days, so that the patient may not come to us. So latent glaucoma or prodromal phase, in this there occurs an attack of transient rise in IOP, that is 40 to 60 millimeter of mercury, and lasting for few seconds. Such attacks are intermittent and usually precipitated by the overwork, anxiety, fatigue, or due to the dilatation of the pupil. So what happens? They have the rise in the IOP for only a few seconds. So the patient will have discomfort, pain, and just they may have the transient loss of vision also at this time, but they may think that it is due to the overwork, anxiety, fatigue, or sometimes in the evening time or gloomy days it is dilatation of the pupil, and it will subside by itself. So the newer classification, which is recommended by the American Ophthalmic Society, American Academy of Ophthalmology and World Glaucoma Association. So they have given the terms like this: primary ankylosing suspect, primary ankylosing, and primary ankylosing glaucoma. So only when there is a angle structure is only closed, but patient do not have visual field change, patient do not have increased intraocular pressure, or patient do not have optic disc change, then that is only primary ankylosing. You have to keep in mind this. What is the difference between primary ankylosing and primary ankylosing glaucoma? So when the glaucoma terms comes over here, in spite of narrow angle, there will be the visual field change, optic disc change, and a increase of intraocular pressure. So in case in a primary ankylosing, there will be acute primary angle closure, chronic primary angle closure, and other is a Plateau iris configuration or Plateau iris syndrome. So what are the symptoms of the disease? During this phase, the patient experiences a transient blurring of the vision, color halos around the light due to the corneal edema, and mild headache. And on examination of the eye is white and not congested, and anterior chamber is shallow, which can be demonstrated by the oblique illumination, and gonioscopy reveals a narrow angle. So in case of the prodromal stage. And in case of the intermittent glaucoma or stage of the constant instability, what you will see in this stage is, in this stage, the attack of the rise in IOP are recurrent. So regular, and each attacks may last for a few minutes to 1 to 2 hours. So prodromal stage can be ignored. It can just come for the few seconds, and the patient have got the special symptoms and it will subside. So patient will ignore to go to the hospital, and we may not know at this stage. Then sometimes the second stage is intermittent stage. So this stage also lasts for a few minutes to hours in the patient who have the predisposing factors or risk factors. And the self-terminations of the attack is due to the physiological meiosis induced by the bright light or by the sleep. So again, this stage will subside. So we will have in this stage the impairment of vision, color halos around the light, eye ache, and frontal headache. So sign during the attack, the pupil is dilated and corneal shows a mild edema and IOP is rise. So during this stage, if the patient comes to us, then we can see this sign. So when examination is carried out in between the attack, eye looks normal, except for the shallow anterior chamber and a narrow angle on gonioscopy. So we will not see much finding clinically in this stage also until and unless we do the gonioscopy. Now coming to the acute congestive glaucoma or acute angle closure glaucoma. So sudden onset of pain or aching on the side of the affected eyes, which radiates along the branch of fifth nerve. And this pain is accompanied by blurred vision, color halos around the light, redness, and sometimes nausea, vomiting, and sweating. So it's very important. In case of the acute congestive glaucoma, if we think the patient have got the red eye, blurring of vision, headache, vomiting, then we ask for the color halos and sweating, and what is the time, any previous attack, so, and what is the site radiation of the pain. So this picture is shown about what type of congestion is there in case of congestive glaucoma, and what is the pupil stage and what is the cornea stage. So cornea is hazy, you can see a cloudy cornea, there is a congestion, and you can see these iris atrophic patches are there, and pupil is mid dilated, and you can even see this white disc. If you will see, then you can see that these are the KPs. So pain is due to the rapid rise in IOP, then to the absolute level of the pressure itself, and the blurred vision occurs at first as a result of distortion of the corneal lamellae and epithelial edema. So corneal edema acts as a diffraction grating that breaks white light into its component color, causing the patient to note color halos or rainbows around the light. So in these episodes, the blue-green color are centered and yellow-red color are periphery. So this is also important that there are other causes of the color halos also, like in case of the immature cataract, you can see the color halos in case of the acute conjunctivitis also, which you can see with the differentiating by this color, which type of color. If a patient is literate and if they notice, then they can differentiate whether it is a blue outside and yellow inside, or yellow outside and blue green inside. But most of the patient will not notice these color halos during the pain also. So what we see is, we see the visual acuity is diminished, conjunctival hyperemia in most marked near the limbus, corneal edema, which is at first involve only the epithelium, and whereas at other time the stroma is also thickened and shown the stria. A shallow anterior chamber is seen both centrally and peripherally, and minimum to moderate anterior chamber reaction, which is caused by the increased aqueous humor protein concentration. So if you go from the anterior to posterior, gradually we can remember the findings. So always when you remember the findings or sign, whenever the questions of the sign comes in your eye of the disease, then in your mind you all think, start from the visual acuity, then lid, conjunctiva, cornea, anterior chamber, then you go gradually posterior to the vitreous and the retina. So you will never miss any sign, and you will not be stopped in the middle while saying. So congestion is there in the cornea. So what is the normal finding of the cornea? What are the things you will see in the cornea normally? So you have to put in mind. Then normally the cornea is transparent and you will not be able to see anything, and you just can see the image, which is called the window defect or window image, and normally, and the sensation is intact. These are the two things mostly, beside the size, shape, clarity, which you will see in the cornea. Then if you will know the normal things what you will see in the cornea, if you will remember, then you can remember the abnormal things according to the disease pattern. So what you will see normally in the anterior chamber, you will see the depth of the anterior chamber, and you will see the clarity of the anterior chamber. So what happens over here, the depth is shallow in anterior chamber, both centrally and peripherally, and there is a KPs in the cells in the anterior chamber. So this is a picture. This is a anterior chamber. This is a cornea. So the cornea will be hazy, and the KPs you will see like this type of pigmentation KPs in the cornea. The moderate, dilated, and vertically oval, Suglish or non-reactive pupil. So now come to the pupil. The high IOP causes the ischemia and paresis of the pupillary splinter. So there will be the mid-dilated pupil, and moderate elevated IOP usually in the range of 45 to 75, and close angle or gonioscopy. So you cannot do the gonioscopy at this stage because the media is hazy, cornea is hazy, so you will not be able to see. But later on, with 1 or 2 days after the cornea haziness is subside, then you can go for the gonioscopy. A hyperemic swollen optic disc. Swollen optic disc is due to the attack of the acute closer glaucoma and hydroptic degenerations and impaired exoplasmic flow, and normal or constricted visual field. So findings suggestive of the previous episodes of the acute angle closer glaucoma. So if patient has got the previous attack and patient do not come to you, but later patient can come to you in the acute congestive stage, then by seeing this finding also you can correlate that the patient has got the previous attack also, like posterior synechia is there. So what is posterior synechia? It is the adhesion of the lens with the iris. Peripheral anterior synechia, diminished outflow facilities, glaucoma fleccans, which is a very important finding, where there is the anterior subcapsular lens opacity, and sector or generalized iris atrophy due to the iris ischemia, and more often located superiorly than inferiorly. So you can see just a whitish or grayish type of patches over the iris, which is seen generally in the iris atrophy. The increased pigmentations of iris on iris surface, corneal endothelium and trabecular meshwork, optic nerve cupping or pallor, and visual field loss. So there are different tests like mydriatic test and dark room test, which is there in Purana. You read that, and which is not done nowadays mostly, but you read sometimes. Some old examiner might ask you for that. And diagnosis is wow, when you see the color halos, how you will describe, or what are the differential diagnosis of the color halos? It is a very simple question and frequently asked question to you. So colored halos in a PACZ is the halos of the glaucoma and immature cataract may be differentiated by the Finchheim test. So Finchheim test is frequently asked questions to you in your exam. So you make a 5-star over there, in which a stenoptic slit is passed across the pupil, and during this stage the glaucomatous halo remain intact, while the halos due to the cataract is broken up into the segment. So there is a Finchheim, one rod is there, one glass is there, so which we will ask the patient to see through that, and those rods will be intact in case of the glaucomatous halo, or whereas in case of the immature cataract you will see that broken into the segment. So the saddle will be broken down into the segment. Chronic closed angle glaucoma in this stage is result of the extensive peripheral anterior synechia. So it may develop as a sequelae of an attack of acute congestive glaucoma, or as a result of the intermittent subacute attack, or due to the gradual and progressive creeping of the synechial angle closure. So it can be the sequelae, or it can be the gradual or progressive creeping. So patient come at this stage also where you will see all the angle is synechially closed. So IOP remains constantly raised at this stage, and the eye remain permanently congested and irritable, except in case where chronic closed angle glaucoma result diffuse to gradual creeping synechial angle closure. Visual field defect appears, which are similar to those in POAZ. Optic disc may show glaucomatoscopy, and visual acuity is decreased, and gonioscopy reveals the angle closed by peripheral anterior synechia. And this is the absolute stage where in a chronic phase, if untreated with or without the occurrence of the intermittent subacute attack, gradually pass into the final phase of the absolute glaucoma. So over here, its eye is painful, irritable, and complete blindness, and the anterior chamber veins are dilated with slight ciliary fuss over the cornea. And long-standing cases, few prominent and enlarged vessels are seen in front of in the form of caput medusae. So cornea in the early cases is clear but insensitive. So when we do the corneal sensation, it is absent. There is a haziness, and you can see in the cornea you can see the bullae, epithelial bullae, which turns to the bullous keratopathy, or filament. It can be filamentary keratopathy. Anterior chamber is shallow, iris becomes atrophic, and pupils become fixed and dilated, and optic disc there will be the optic atrophy, and IOP is high. So complications, you can have corneal ulcer, staphyloma formation, and atrophic bulbi. So how can you assess the angle by gonioscopy or by the Van Herrick slit lamp grading of the angle? So we do this as grade 4, grade 3, grade 2, and grade 1 depending upon the corneal thickness, Van Herrick grading. So propagation test for the PACZ is done in a dark room test, and the increase in IOP of more than 8 mm of mercury is suggestive of the diagnosis of PACZ. And the treatment depends upon the type, that is the immediate medical therapy to stop the acute attack, then damage the optic nerve, trabecular meshwork, and lens, reducing the formation of posterior and peripheral anterior synechia, protections of the fellow eye, so definite treatment of iridotomy in both the eyes, and management of the long-term sequelae. So management of the latent and intermittent glaucoma is, once the diagnosis is there, we do either surgical peripheral iridectomy or laser peripheral iridectomy by putting the 2% of pilocarpine. And in case of the acute congestive stage, we go for the medical therapy with the strong analgesic, injectable, because there is pain, and systemic hyperosmotic agent, that is we give the intravenous mannitol 1 gram per kg body weight, or oral glycerin 1.5 gram per kg body weight, and acetazolamide, that is a carbonic anhydrase inhibitors 250 milligram tablet 6 hourly, beta blocker, so 0.5%, timolol maleate, and pilocarpine is not started soon, and it is started after it lowers the IOP by the hyperosmotic agent, because in higher pressure iris splinter is ischemia, so the pilocarpine doesn't act over there. Then we go for the corticosteroid to reduce the inflammation. Next, surgical treatment, peripheral iridectomy and laser iridectomy, followed by the filtering surgery. Prophylactic treatment in the fellow eye is very important. So management of the chronic angle closure is also filtering surgery by lowering the intraocular pressure. And in case of those eyes which are absolute glaucoma, we go for the retrobulbar alcohol injections, cryotherapy, inoculations of the eyeball, so cryo destruction of the secretory ciliary epithelium to lower the IOP, and inoculation of the eye if it is still painful eye, and if the above alcohol retrobulbar injections of the alcohol and cyclocryo fails. So this much for today.